There is a man you have seen. He is not trying to impress anyone. He is not angling for attention or adjusting his behavior based on who just walked in. He is simply there, present, in his own orbit, doing whatever he was doing before you arrived and apparently quite content to continue. And something strange happens. The very fact that he does not seem to need anything from the room, does not need to be seen, does not need to be approved of, does not need the interaction to go any particular way, makes him the most interesting person in it. This is the paradox of indifference, and it is one of the most counterintuitive and most consistent patterns in all of human attraction. The harder you reach, the more people pull away. The less you seem to need, the more people move toward you, not because of some manipulation technique, not because of a set of carefully calibrated behaviors designed to signal coolness, but because of something far more fundamental about how the human brain assigns value to things and people. Today, we are going to unpack this completely, layer by layer, until the paradox is not a mystery anymore, just a principle you can actually use. Before we get into the layers, let me give you the underlying science. Because understanding why this happens makes everything else click. The human brain, your brain, everyone's brain, is constantly running an unconscious valuation system. Every person you encounter, every resource you come across, every opportunity that appears gets processed through a simple question. Is this scarce or abundant? Scarce things register as valuable. Abundant things, even genuinely good things, start to feel less precious simply because they are always available. And here is where it gets directly relevant to attraction. When a person makes themselves completely and constantly available, when their attention, their approval, their emotional investment is always accessible, always given freely, always present regardless of what you do, the brain registers that as abundance, as something that does not need to be earned or valued particularly highly, because it is simply always there. Contrast this with the person whose attention feels like it means something because it is not automatically given, whose approval registers as worth something because it has not been handed out indiscriminately, whose presence in a room carries weight because it is not desperately seeking to be felt by everyone in it. The brain reads scarcity as value, not because the person is playing games, but because something about their genuine self-sufficiency signals that they have already built a world worth living in, and you are being offered, not given, access to it. The paradox is not manipulation. It is a byproduct of genuine fullness. A man who has genuinely built something worth having in his own life, in his own identity, does not need to perform indifference. He simply is not hungry in the way that leaks desperation. Real indifference versus performed indifference, and why only one works. This is where most men go wrong the moment they encounter this idea. They hear that indifference creates attraction, and they immediately try to perform it. They ignore messages for calculated periods. They manufacture disinterest in conversations. They pretend they are not interested when they clearly are. And it almost never works, because performed indifference leaks. The slight overcalculation in the timing of a reply, the barely concealed checking of a phone, the too casual mention of other options. These are all tells, signs that the indifference is being managed rather than genuinely felt. And the human brain, particularly under the conditions of social attention that attraction creates, is remarkably good at detecting managed emotion versus genuine emotion. Real indifference, the kind that creates magnetism, does not come from technique. It comes from a life that is genuinely full enough that no single person's response has the power to significantly alter your internal state. The man who is not checking his phone because he is genuinely absorbed in something that matters to him is not performing. The man who does not lean forward anxiously in a conversation because he is genuinely comfortable in his own company is not pretending. The man whose mood does not visibly change based on whether she seemed interested today has actually built something on the inside that most men have only read about. You cannot fake a full life. You can only build one. And the magnetism, the genuine kind, the kind that holds rather than just initially attracts, is a side effect of the building, not the goal of it. Performed indifference is a strategy. Real indifference is a byproduct. Only one of them actually works. The value signal. What indifference is actually communicating? Let me be more precise about what is actually being communicated when genuine indifference shows up in a person. It is not coldness. It is not aloofness. It is not the careful withholding of warmth designed to create longing. Those things are visible for what they are, and they create discomfort rather than attraction. What genuine indifference communicates is something specific and deeply appealing. It says, I am already okay. My sense of who I am, my emotional stability, my satisfaction with my own life, none of these depend on your response to me. I am interested in you, genuinely, warmly interested, but not in the way that needs something from you to feel complete. That communication changes the entire dynamic of an interaction. Most social interactions involve some version of a transaction. Attention being sought, approval being angled for, responses being monitored for signs of acceptance. It is subtle and usually unconscious, but it is there, and both parties can feel it even when neither could articulate it. The person who steps outside of that transactional frame, who is genuinely warm but genuinely undemanding, creates a completely different experience. Being around them feels like relief, like the one social space where you do not have to manage anything, perform anything, or be vigilant about what is being asked of you. And that feeling, that specific relief, is one of the most powerful attractors in human social life. People move toward the thing that lets them exhale every time. The man who needs nothing from you is the man you think about when he is not there. Not because he was cold, because being around him was the one place you felt genuinely free. The pursuit reversal. Why it happens and what drives it. This is the layer most people find hardest to believe until they have actually experienced it. When a person genuinely stops needing a particular outcome from an interaction, not as a technique, but as an actual internal shift, something changes in the dynamic. The other person starts to initiate, starts to reach, starts to want to be noticed in the eyes of the person who seemed least moved by the need to notice anyone. Why? Because we are wired to want what appears to have value that we have not yet accessed. The approval of someone who gives it freely and automatically is worth almost nothing because it costs nothing and proves nothing about us. The approval of someone who appears to have their own internal standards, who is not distributing attention and warmth indiscriminately, registers as something worth having. This is the pursuit reversal, not engineered, not performed, simply the natural consequence of a person whose attention feels like it means something, because it is not automatic. There is a specific moment in this dynamic that I want you to understand clearly. The moment when someone realizes that their usual social mechanisms as their charm, their humor, their attractiveness, the things that reliably get them attention elsewhere, are not producing the expected reaction. That moment of slight surprise, of recalibration, is the moment the attention shifts. Not because you have withheld anything, not because you have played any game, but because your genuine self-sufficiency created the one thing that most people never experience in social interaction: genuine uncertainty about whether they have been found interesting, and genuine uncertainty is the engine of genuine curiosity. The person who is not trying to win you over is the one you find yourself trying to win over. That is not a trick, that is physics. The sustainable version: how to build this for real. So we have established what genuine indifference is, what it communicates, and what it produces. Now the practical question: how do you actually get there? Not as a performance, as a genuine internal state. The answer is almost embarrassingly unglamorous. You build a life that is genuinely worth being present in. Full enough, directed enough, meaningful enough that no single person's response to you can destabilize it. This means having work that genuinely matters to you, not performed passion, actual absorption in something that would interest you regardless of whether it impressed anyone. This means having friendships that sustain you, not social proof accessories, but people you actually want to spend time with. This means having a physical practice, a creative practice, an intellectual practice, something that provides a sense of competence and progress that does not depend on external validation. When those things are in place, genuinely in place, not aspirationally described, the indifference happens naturally, not because you have switched off your interest in people, but because your stability is no longer located in their responses. And there is a second component that is less often discussed: comfort with your own company. The man who cannot be alone without discomfort is the man who will always be slightly hungry in social situations, always needing something from them that they can sense. The man who genuinely enjoys his own company, who finds solitude restorative rather than threatening, brings a completely different quality to his interactions with others. The magnetic person is not magnetic because they have learned to seem disinterested. They are magnetic because they have built enough of a life that their interest in you is a gift rather than a need. And gifts feel very different from needs. The misunderstanding: what this is not. I want to be precise about what the paradox of indifference is not, because it gets misread in ways that produce the opposite of the intended result. It is not coldness. The genuinely magnetic person is almost always warm, curious, engaged, fully present when they are with you. The indifference is to outcome, not to the person. They are interested in you without needing you to respond in any particular way. It is not arrogance. Arrogance is the performance of superiority. It needs an audience and a comparison to function. The genuine self-sufficiency we have been describing needs neither. It is not positioned against anything or anyone. It is not detachment. The Stoic version of this is sometimes mistaken for emotional unavailability. But the man who has done the work to become genuinely indifferent to outcomes is often more fully present in interactions, not less, because he is not spending emotional bandwidth managing his anxiety about how things are going. And it is absolutely not manipulation. The moment it becomes a technique, the moment you are doing it to produce a specific reaction rather than because it is genuinely who you are, it stops working. The human brain is too precise a social instrument to be reliably deceived by a performed version of this. The paradox of indifference only works when it is not a paradox at all, when it is simply the natural expression of a man who has built enough that he does not need to chase. At that point, it is not indifference. It is abundance. And abundance is magnetic in ways that scarcity never can be. Here's the question I want to leave with you before we close. Not, how do I seem less interested? Not, what technique creates the pursuit reversal? But this, is your life currently full enough that your happiness genuinely does not depend on how any particular person responds to you? If the honest answer is yes, then the magnetism is probably already there to some degree, and you simply need to stop interfering with it by performing. If the honest answer is no, then the work is clear. Not learning techniques, building the life, one genuine investment in something that matters to you at a time, until the foundation is solid enough that nothing outside of it can destabilize it. That is the work. It is slow. It is unglamorous. And it is the only version of this that actually holds. The paradox of indifference. The harder you reach, the more people pull away. The less you seem to need, the more people move toward you. Not because the world is cruel or counterintuitive for its own sake, but because the brain reads genuine self-sufficiency as value. And value, in the currency of human attraction, is the only thing that actually matters. 5 layers. The difference between real and performed. What it actually communicates. Why the pursuit reversal happens. How to build the genuine version and what it's not. The work is not learning to seem indifferent. The work is building a life interesting enough that the indifference is simply the natural overflow of being genuinely absorbed in it. Mind Tactics Lab is here every week for exactly this kind of thinking. The counterintuitive, the precise, the things that take more than a surface reading to actually understand. Where in your life right now is the need showing? The slight hunger that people can sense? You do not have to name it for me, but name it for yourself. That is where the work starts. The most magnetic thing you can do right now is go build something worth being distracted by.